Okay, so let's have a look into Qlik first then maybe. So let's see, where do I have it? Here we go. So this is Clixsense, well, a product which was recently released by Qlik in addition to their Qlik View product line. It's a data visualization product, BI product, many of you might be familiar with, and I created here a very simple dashboard actually around churn. So we stay on the churn use case here. We have some data for the United States, and this is now a typical result actually in a more BI-like fashion. So you took data from the past. So for example, we have aggregate information here for the different states of the United States, Montana, and so on. And we calculate some properties. For example, how much churn do we have in Montana here? 21%. So you see this on the table here on the right. Or in Delaware, 14%. Or in Colorado, which is 13%. So you have this information. Of course, you can visualize this like in this map here. We can definitely see that Montana has the highest churn rate here. We have, what's that, New Hampshire here. Well, I just moved here a couple of years ago. Don't ask me for every single state of the United States. I probably will like terribly fail. So let's not go into more details here for now. So that is a typical situation. And of course, I could now drill down here and have a look. For example, if I am a regional manager, I'm most interested in Maine and New Hampshire and Vermont and Massachusetts and Rhode Island and Connecticut. And now I'm actually almost impressed that I found all of them right away. Well, this is really your region. Let's say you're responsible for New England. So this would be your region here. You can make a selection and you can get the updated information here. Well, we have all those states here. New Hampshire actually most churn, or highest churn rate actually, followed by Massachusetts and so on. The average churn rate is 9.78%. Those are typical applications, so you know about your region now. Well, I have a too high churn rate, maybe I should do something about this. But what now? What can you do really? So, and that's exactly where now the combination of a data visualization product like Qlik and RapidMiner can kick in. So this is just the first dashboard I created here in a more BI-like sense. Let's make now the selection. So we have now selected those 6 out of the 58 states here, as you can see here at the top, and move on to this prediction tab. And in fact, I do something now right away, because the last time I did this for Montana. I have to reload now the selection or the data calculation for the selection I just made. So what's happening now in the background is I take the selection, those 6 states, the New England states, deliver this information about the selection to RapidMiner. RapidMiner takes this information, creates a model for churn for those 6 states, makes a prediction for all the cases where we are most interested in, and delivers those predicted cases back into Qlik. That's exactly what happened in the background. And additionally, we see the most important influence factors here and how do they differ for your New England state. So if I scroll down here, you can actually see now how large are the predictions for your region. And you can see, well, also in the future, New Hampshire will probably get most churn. The rest is pretty much equal compared to New Hampshire at least. So you now get the predictions for your own region, so where is going to be most churn, so where should you maybe focus on. And this is now in contrast to the dashboard. Well, in this particular case, it was New Hampshire, it was very strong in both cases, not a huge surprise, but at least you got this confirmation here as well. Well, the other states actually changed it a little bit. But then also you can see typical reasons for churn, or maybe not always reasons, but also like, okay, is there some patterns which are like sticking out here. And indeed, for your region, New England, you can see that actually this age bracket between 20 and 30 here is much more likely to churn. Actually, in fact, 2.5x, around 2.5x more likely than what you see in all the states. So in this red curves here, or the red bar charts, this is the information you have for all the states. But in your particular region, this age bracket actually is even more important. Also, the number of males are higher. So if you, for example, now want to work with your marketing team on this couple of churn campaigns, it might be a good idea to focus on this age bracket first, like male people between 20 and 30. So that is good. Now we know what's going to happen. We get some prediction about your region. You made the selection like you're used to in Clixsense. you get the prediction delivered, and I will show you later how you actually integrate both products. You get the prediction delivered into Qlik. But can we go a step further? And of course we can, because RapidMiner is not just creating the prediction on top of the aggregated information. We can also get the prediction really who are the customers, how many customers per state. Again, most here in New Hampshire, 7 I think, followed by Massachusetts and so on. And who are the customers with the highest likelihood to churn? And this is exactly what this table here shows. Sorted by churn confidence. Those are the people you should focus on first. Those are the people who are churning most likely. Then if I scroll down a little bit, we are getting to a region where people are actually not very likely to churn, but I also created a so-called upselling model. Didn't talk a lot about this, but you probably are familiar with the concept. And this upselling model here, we created actually for all those people who are not likely to churn, and who are currently using one of our cheaper product packages, P2 and P3, we figured out who is most likely to, well, is most willing to purchase the more expensive package, P1 as well, or instead. So this is now very, very actionable insights. You know exactly who's going to churn, so you can focus on those people. You know where you have some opportunity to increase your revenues. So if I would be responsible for the New England region, I would know exactly what I need to do and can actually act on this. And this is exactly the difference between here on the dashboard side. As we all know as data scientists, like, great, I know what has happened. I would focus maybe on Montana and that's it, or whatever. Or here, I would just see, well, yeah, New Hampshire, Massachusetts here. But Massachusetts becomes actually less of a problem for whatever reason, maybe other activities we already did. So let's focus on New Hampshire here, and those are the people who are churning in New Hampshire. We can see here and can focus on them. So it's actionable sites based on the predictions of the futures. And this is really, this is of course what now RapidMiner can bring to the table, but instead of having the need to understand every single model, people can stay in their usual working environment, which in this particular example here is Clixsense. Okay, so how are we doing this? Let's switch over to RapidMiner. I hope you can all see my screen here. This is the process I have created. A very simple one. In the beginning, I just load the raw data. Then actually I take the parameters from Qlik, and the parameters I'm taking from Qlik actually are just the states we are selecting in the beginning. We could also select the year we're using for modeling, but actually I didn't explain this, so let's skip this for now. It's smaller here. So here we have now basically a filter defined, which is using the states which are coming from Qlik. Well, some of you might not be familiar with this format, and some of you might not be very familiar with RapidMiner at all right now. So this is a so-called macro, which it can be filled from outside of the process. In fact, here you can see that I pre-filled this with all the states of the United States. So as a default, I just deliver everything basically. So I'm not filtering out anything. So that's what's happening here, but Qlik then can deliver the inputs. Well, those are the states I clicked on, and so those are the states I, as a region manager for New England, I'm most interested in, so deliver this. And then the rest is, well, kind of typical data science stuff. So if I show you the data, let me actually see if I find this right away. Well, I'll take it from here in RapidMiner, why not? I have here this churn status column, and you can see that in many cases we don't know the churn status, meaning like we don't know if those people are going to churn yes or no. And in other cases, we actually have this information about loyal people, and somewhere we also have the churn cases here. Okay, so of course, as always, the task is to build a predictive model, taking the information we have into account and predicting. Those are the people we know about. We're filtering those people. And create a churn model, and then we apply this model on the people where we don't know about, and those are the predictions we have seen in the second and third dashboard. Now we do something very similar here on the upselling opportunities. So we know what packages are used, and we can try to find out, are there opportunities for people who actually show a profile which is closer to the higher valued packages, which is P1 here in the end. All right, so other information in the data, just very quickly. So we have information about how much they spent in the previous 3 years on the mobile billing and the landlines, the age, the package they are using, the gender. Well, we saw this already in the dashboard. Okay, so typical data science workflow. So what can you do next then? Well, the next step is actually that you can easily store this on RapidMiner servers. So you install a new server repository. You can do this here and create a repository and take the server here. And after you created a new server, you can save, just really, that's all you need to do. That's how our deployment works. It's pretty simple, actually. You just save the process on the server. And after you did this, let's now shift to a server. It only takes a few clicks, actually, to turn this process now into a so-called web service. Okay, let's log in here. If I can type my password correctly. All right, so all you need to do is really, you go to the process we just deployed on the server here, which is this churn and upselling process. You take this process, and you can click here on Export as Service, here on the right side. And after you did this, you get a new web service. Here we have this. And this new web service is really easy to be configured. So this is the process which is going to be executed. You can select what kind of output you want to create. You can create charts or maps or XML or JSON files or deliver whatever can be created with RapidMiner. But in this particular case, I just go with a very simple table here. And now the last thing I can configure is, well, I have 2 macros for the year used for modeling. I call it M2. And the states I'm most interested in, that's PM1. And I bind URL query parameters to those 2 macros. What does that mean? Well, if I test this web service here now on RapidMiner server, you can see now that I can get here some URL. And for example, can say, let's go with New York. And test this thing. Oh, just sorry. Now I'm only getting the information for New York, so instead of the full data set. So I'm getting now all the information, like for example, what is the prediction in cases where we knew it already, we don't need a prediction. All other cases we have the prediction, including the confidence and so on. So every single piece of information is here delivered now from this web service. Now you can take actually this URL and feed it into Qlik. So let's move over here. And how are you doing this? Well, in Qlik there is this data load editor. And I'm not really truly a Qlik expert myself, I have to admit, but I spent a couple of hours really only in learning how to use it. And I have to say, like, yeah, I managed quite fast to really set it up. All I'm doing here is, well, I define a new data set I call churn, and I'm loading all different kinds of columns here, and I rename some of them, all different kinds of columns here from this URL we just have been specifying. And I can use those parameters here. Those are the states which are selected. As a default, I select all of them, but later you would see how we can also, or here you actually can see already how we can select specific states, or also here the year. This is the way how you can actually access the information where you clicked on in Qlik. So you use the dollar symbol and then round brackets and the variable name. In this case, it's here selected. If I scroll down a little bit, you see the same also here. I thought at least, is it here, where I actually do the same for both selecting the states and selecting the years. So this is the format. That's all you do. So you define the name, you define what columns you're interested in from this table which is delivered by the web service, and then it's just the URL from the web service you just can copy here from this direct link. And that's kind of it. Then you click on load data, and that's it. So it takes a while. All right. So now I upload the data, and I can now go into our into our app here in Qlik, and can work with the data as we have seen this before. So this is the overall workflow. There's only one small caveat for those of you who use both products specifically now and want to try it out. After you made this selection, you need to tell Qlik that it actually needs to reload this data. If you look up on Google for Qlik reload button, then actually you will find a nice solution how to do this out of the dashboard, which is a little bit more elegant than actually making you go back to the data load editor. Both ways would work. You can reload them through the editor. That's kind of the standard Clixsense way, or you add this reload button here to your dashboard, which is I find a little bit more comfortable than going into the editor.